Doug Dane is joining us today, and I'm super excited to get to talk to him because I think he has such useful information. He is a self image specialist, international speaker, author of Mistaken Identity. He's become an expert on mindset, goals, and habits. Doug, thank you for being here with us today.
Always my pleasure to be here with you.
You know, I have to say, especially if we really start looking at mindset, I think so many of us struggle with that. And maybe we do well for a couple months and then we fall off. Where do we begin as an adult to evaluate our mindset?
I think the starting point first is you just have to look at your results. Your results tell you everything. Results meaning, if you look at the most common areas of your life, your financial situation, your career, your relationships, your health, your friendships. What are the results that you're getting? And your viewpoint or your attitude towards your results. And pay attention, when you look at your own results, and if you were to talk to others about them or talk to yourself about them, what does that conjure up inside? How do you feel? Are you confident? Are you positive? Are you inspired, enthusiastic, or are you second guessing, fearful, procrastinating, giving yourself a hard time? What's that? I was reading my book this morning to some clients and just quoted a piece of scripture actually, and it's the idea of by their fruits you shall know them.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
take a look at your own fruits, the fruits of your labor. And if you're not happy with the fruits of your labor, you got to get something really straight. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just doing it wrong, meaning you might have some mistaken beliefs. You might have some past experiences. You might still be living in the past with guilt and resentment. You might be one of those people that were taught to worry about the future. You have a lot of anxiety. Just look at your results and look at how you feel, and that will determine if you've got to shift your mindset, because your mindset's a thermostat. Really, literally, your mind is like a thermostat. It's a machine. It's a cybernetic device or machine like a thermostat. And so if you don't like your environment, like if it's really cold, you're freezing, you do have the ability, and you're not comfortable, you have the ability to make those changes. That's it. Results and how you feel.
Yeah, I think it's a great place to start. And I think when you also look at what you're telling yourself and what you're saying all day, and if they're anxious thoughts and uncomfortable thoughts, and sometimes thoughts that don't even make sense, I think that's another sign you really need to evaluate.
Yeah. Yeah. I would actually change the wording. We don't actually, it's not the things we tell ourselves. That's just a common, if you think, what you got to do is really separate these thoughts, this dialogue from your self. That dialogue is actually not you, your authentic self doing that. That's the false self, the ego self, doing all the talking. Michael Singer, he called it your inner roommate, the book, The
Hmm.
Untethered Soul. So we
Hmm.
have this inner roommate. That's who's doing the talking. We go, it's me. It's not you. It's the conditioned you. It's the broken you. It's the hurt you. It's the person that doesn't like you. Person doesn't feel worthy enough. That's who's doing the talking. It's not you.
I think a lot of people, and working kind of in the health and wellness space now, I have people who come and have dietary issues or health problems or things like that, and they want to talk about nutrition, and certainly we do. But then I also always come back to, really, to see dramatic change in our exterior, we have to have some interior change as well. And that's mindset, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's focusing on, well, listen, we're so influenced by the outside. Um, we have access to so much information from these. There's the news media, of course. There's lots on the news. Well, there's always something on the news, but there's a lot of bad news on the news right now. And we've been brought up to really give most of our attention to the outside, because we were so, you better listen, Dougie Dane, when I was a little boy, right? Or Lauren, you better pay attention. And so we were taught to, listen to everything on the outside. And then, if we didn't get good results, even when we were young, on the outside, of course, people brought our attention to that. So we became very external focused, and we're very results focused. You should be results oriented, meaning your orientation is to the result. You want to orient yourself to the result you want, but you shouldn't be result focused, meaning whatever results you get and you focus on the result you got. You focus on the results you want. What we really want to do is we want to go inside and really think from inside out, because whatever is going on outside in our life and however we perceive our outside life is how we perceive it from the inside. So we have two elements we got to work on: perception and judgment. So you perceive things through you have a viewpoint through your perception. And like whoever's watching right now, one person is seeing this and listening to us, and they see it a certain way and a different way than somebody else sees it, or a different way. And then through your perception, you make judgment calls. You make judgment calls, you make decisions, you evaluate, and you take action. So I think we're probably better to go inside and sort that out. And if you do that, that's a bit tough, because you got to be honest with yourself, and you're lying to yourself a lot. We make up a lot of lies. That other person makes up a lot of lies, and we make up a lot of. I say to people, you're a really good dancer. I'll ask you a question. So I'll say, Lauren, let me ask you a question. I ask you a very direct question, and then you're a beautiful dancer. You'll dance all around my question.
Sure. Sure. Me of all people, I can really do that. Yes.
We all can. So it's I don't want to lose people the concept of inside out. What you really got to do is you have to just take a look really at your beliefs. There's really a couple. Literally, just get your pen out and make two lists: my beliefs and my values, or my policies, or my standards. So you have beliefs and you have standards, and those two things run your perception and your judgment and dictate behavior. So if you don't like the results, look at the behavior, and then just take one more step inside and go, all right, what do I believe? And what are the rules, values, and beliefs I'm following that's causing me to do what I do to get results that I don't want? Talking about diet, right? Or food. I mean, a lot of people are very and should be very dissatisfied with their results in terms of their health. And everybody tries to work on the outside. Well, how about going inside and go, all right, now what do I believe about myself? And what were some of the things that I was told, rules, values, beliefs I inherited, that's causing me to flip over to a coping mechanism where I jam food down my throat that's not good for me? Right. That's what I mean by inside out.
Yeah. And that in our society today, whether it's food or shopping or alcohol or cigarettes or drugs or vapes or whatever, I mean, we can name 1,000 things that people do use as coping mechanisms. And it's this strange dichotomy, because they know it's bad for them. They know they shouldn't do it. I say we all have them, and yet we can't stop. We get into well, I'm going to shop, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to just have 3 lattes today, or whatever, and that's hard to evaluate and look at and go, what internally is making me go find some way to comfort myself? Because that's what those are. They're coping and comforting mechanisms.
Listen, changing habits can be really hard. I'll give you an example. I got up this morning. I'm in New York. I divide my time between New York and Toronto. And I usually like to go to get a coffee at Starbucks, and then I walk around Central Park. This morning, we have this beautiful lounge in our building, the 44th floor, beautiful lounge. The coffee is free, and I didn't really feel like going out. And I stood in the kitchen. I go, do I have a coffee here and sit on the couch? Do I go upstairs? I'm having this dialogue with myself on a simple little thing like going lounge. Well, I finally did go to the lounge, but I was laughing at myself, because if you do deliberately try to change habits, you're very resistant to it. You run this whole thing in your head, So I'm probably more aware than the average person, so I can watch myself, observe, what Doug does, the ego side of Doug does to avoid changing the habit. So it does feel hard. But we are locked into the idea through the mental health system, through the health and wellness system, all these things, that this is hard, like we do have these coping mechanisms and we do have these addictions and all that. And we do believe that changing them is very, very difficult. And it is, but you're doing it wrong. That's why it's difficult. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can actually be quite easy if you're easier on yourself while you're trying to form those habits. But we're not. We're very judgmental. We're very guilt-ridden. We're very critical. We turn on ourselves. We give ourselves a hard time. Why? Because that's what happened to us when we were little. We just, if you didn't get it right, go brush your teeth, Lauren. Or whatever your parents yelled at you to do, you didn't do it. If you didn't do it, you didn't get praised. You got punished. So what do? We punish ourselves when we go to the food. We punish ourselves when we go to the alcohol. That's actually not a coping mechanism. It's a punishing mechanism.
Interesting. I've never thought of it that way. Where it's almost like it's a subconscious program sort of running.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Everything about us is habitual. Everything.
It's very true. And we learn habits along the way and they stick.
Yeah. I was talking this morning. Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay.
Well, so how do we, after we write down, you told us to sit down and kind of make the list of sort of our programs that are running there. What do we dial into after that? What do we do after we've made that list to figure out, okay, this mindset I'm having isn't working for my life?
Right. Well, I think today on a call, we were talking about labels, like food have labels, jars have labels. Those Post-it notes, the sticky Post-it notes. They come in all kinds of colors and we jot things on them, we stick them. I got everybody on this call this morning. I said, close your eyes and I want you to picture yourself covered in colored Post-it notes with all kinds of labels. You have a lot of labels on you, right? People labeled you with this, that, and the other thing. You label yourself. You go, you're such a piece of crap, Doug. I can't believe you turn to booze all the time. Piece of crap, stick it on, right? Just think of all the things that you label yourself as, or other people have labeled you. You got a bunch of labels. You're covered in Post-it notes, all kinds of colors and all kinds of things. And what we got to do is we have to replace them. So you go, all right, let me grab that Post-it note. You're such a piece of crap, Doug. Let me grab that one off. Let me write up a new one. And what we have to do is we have to start using the power of self-suggestion. So whatever you suggest to yourself, like you said, Lauren, we're always constantly talking to ourselves. That's that suggestion. It's called auto-suggestion because it's automatic. There was these suggestions made, and then we just kind of took it on and it became automatic. And we automatically suggest to ourselves, I'm just not good enough. You know what? I'll never stick to it. We have all these labels that we've been given, and they're now automatic. So all you do is you do the very same thing that got done to you, is you need to create some new suggestions. And you only work on one, maybe two at a time.
Okay.
One habit, no more than two at a time. And you just start giving yourself a new suggestion. I'm going to get up every morning at 7 a.m. and start my day early. And I'm going to start by drinking a bottle of water. And then you get up tomorrow morning and you hit the snooze button at 7. You don't get up till 8. You forget to drink the water. You write it out again, suggest it again. So you have to discipline yourself. And discipline is the ability to give yourself a suggestion and command and then follow it. It's two parts. First, you got to get the first part right. You got to give yourself suggestion over and over and over. And so you self-suggest. They call them affirmations, suggestion. And if you suggest something positive long enough, repetitiously enough, it'll become automatic. Yeah, I mean, I know automatically you probably brush your teeth 2 or 3 times a day. Your mom doesn't have to tell you to brush your teeth. You probably make your bed. I make my bed every morning. I don't need
Yeah.
suggestion around that. I do it, right? You can, that's how simple it is. But when the alarm goes off at 7 and you don't get up, you snooze till 8, you forget to drink the water, you don't go, you piece of crap, Doug, I can't believe you didn't do that. You go, it's okay. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then you state it again. Yeah.
I think sometimes people are fearful around giving themselves too much leeway. It's almost like an automatic judgment kicks in, and they're like, "Oh, if I didn't get up and drink the water, then if I didn't do it today, I'm never going to do it." It's a they're scared of giving themselves leeway.
Yeah. Well, because they lack poor judgment. That's poor judgment. Um, you wouldn't do, well, I shouldn't say you, I know you wouldn't. And if you're listening, you probably wouldn't. Some do. That's why I'm kind of pulling back. But, you wouldn't treat a young person that way, a 5-year-old daughter or son or 10-year-old boy or girl. You'd encourage them. You can do it, Lauren. I know you didn't do it today. It's okay. You can do it. You can do it. But we just, again, all those labels and what's on the inside, all the beliefs, all the poor judgment that was dumped on us, you inherited that poor judgment. So yeah, it was late today. I said, what's the problem? She goes, when it comes to my work, she goes, I'm very effective at starting new things and finish them. Very effective. But personally, I'm not. I said, that's interesting. She goes, yeah, I want to play the guitar, but what's the point in starting? Because I'll never finish anything. Well, it's because when she was little, her mom just kept drilling that into her head. You never finish what you start, Stacy, right? But in work, she's very confident and she's very effective. I said, isn't that interesting? In work, you can do it. And personally, you can't. Why is that? The only difference is because it's a belief and a record that's been playing in her head for so long. And so we just gotta change the record,
Because in essence, what we believe, we end up creating in the external.
That's right. Yeah. Listen, whatever you dwell upon, you become. That's been said 100 plus different ways. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Sure.
Oprah said, what you dwell upon, you become. What you think about is what you become. Thoughts are things. Google that phrase and you'll see.
It's all throughout the Bible,
Yeah.
Guard your thoughts. Yeah, it's all throughout the Bible.
Yeah. I was thinking this morning, because I get kind of annoyed with the personal development industry because it's causing a lot of confusion for people. I said, really, the only thing you really got to do is just read the Bible, not from a religious perspective, but there's a lot in the Bible on how to think properly, treat yourself properly, treat other people properly, operate, your mind properly. It'd be that would take you a lifetime just to study that book. That'd be the only book you need, really.
It's very true. And the more you read it, the more it speaks to you and the bigger even that it becomes, I've studied the Bible my entire life and still do. And yeah, it keeps bringing new elements of life to you, really. And the Bible also talks a lot about not just mindsets, guarding your mind, if there be any virtue, if there be any grace or praise, think on these things. But also what we speak, life and death and the power of the tongue. And, I tell my kids that all the time, One of my kids the other day goes, oh, I'm short. I said, you will be if you say that, But I definitely believe that when you start guarding what's in your head and your thoughts, and then also what you speak, and I almost think that guarding what you speak is easier, but it's a process. And when you become aware of what you're saying about yourself in a lot of cases, it's very concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you just did that, like if I, if you're listening here to Lauren and I, and you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, if I could fly down and see you and hang out with you for a week, so I'll go to work with you, I'll have dinner at your home, I'll meet your family. If I just observed you for a week and I didn't say anything other than just record, I'll take notes. I might record on my phone. I might film a little bit. I'm just going to observe you for a week. And I fed back what you said. And if I could put a meter on your head and also read what you're thinking, if I played that back for you, you go, no wonder I'm struggling. And if you treated anybody else like that, they wouldn't be in your life. Like, I can't believe how we treat ourselves. It's no wonder we don't like ourselves, because we treat ourselves so poorly. You know, if you did that to your children, man, oh man,
Yeah.
they'd be lost. You know,
Right.
but again, I just want to simplify this, because we can talk all day about this, and these concepts make sense to people, and yeah, that resonates with me. People say, and it's not complicated; it's logical, but it does seem still very hard. But it's not. Like, it just could be as simple. What if all you did was three things? If you just read the best personal development book ever in the world every day for, 10 minutes. If you just followed the golden rule, be impeccable with your words and just treat people the way you want to be treated. And if you just said one nice thing, one positive thing, one suggestive, directive thing to yourself every day, multiple times, you just did those three things, your life will change dramatically. And the last thing is what's the habit? What's the habit that you want to form? I want to think this way. I want to believe this. I want to do that. I want to feel that. Just one thing suggests that over and over and over and over and over and over. And when the other part comes up, go, nope, and over. Just keep repeating that. Treat other people really well the way you want to be treated, and then just read the Bible. Those are three simple steps.
Totally.
You
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah,
And
you'd eat better, you'd feel better, you'd drink less, your life would get better.